A recent survey shows the average worker, listen to this, spends about 6 hours a day checking email. One of the most emailed stories this week on the New York Times website is called Addicted to Distraction. The author, Tony Schwartz, says too much internet is making it hard for us to focus. The web, in his words, has arguably replaced work itself as our most socially sanctioned addiction. Tony Schwartz is founder and CEO of the Energy Project, and he joins us here at the table this morning. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
So how exactly is the internet interfering with our attention span?
Well, you get good at whatever you do frequently, or better at, and if what you're constantly doing is interrupting yourself and checking, what you get accustomed to and habituated to is interrupting yourself, and that's what happened. I mean, the internet isn't going away, and there's a lot of value in it. The problem is anything, even a virtue overused, eventually becomes a liability. And when you lose control of your own attention, when you feel pulled into the world of all that's available on the internet, it begins to have some pretty insidious impact on your brain.
I was surprised that this was an issue for you, Tony, considering all that you do, because you start the article by saying you were reading a book and you kept reading the same paragraph over and over again. How do you know, A, it wasn't a good book, and how do you know that means that you had a distraction problem?
Well, I love books, and even bad books historically have drawn me in. So I don't remember what book it was I wasn't reading, but I do know that reading is something I usually can do relatively easily. It is surprising it happened to me because I'm a lifelong reader, and what I realized was that even as I read, I had that hunger. I had that, all three of you have your smartphone sitting here right in front of you, and
yes.
When you go to break, your instinct is to go for it immediately. And what we don't realize is that that's taking a toll on our ability both to hold memories, to retain information over time, and it's also making us more and more distractible because it's what we're practicing.
Do neuroscientists sort of confirm this? Yeah,
I mean, there is really considerable evidence, Charlie, that the working memory, we know, is very, very limited. So the stuff that comes into your brain immediately, there's only a limited amount you can hold in there, and it's not held there for very long. If it doesn't transfer down deeper into the hippocampus, now I'm talking neurologically, if it doesn't transfer deeply, it won't be retained. And the problem is we've reached a limit in terms of how much that working memory can hold. So it's as if you're pouring a cup of water, water from a faucet into a full cup of water, and what's there spills out.
Yeah,
so we're really getting less than we need.
But you also say about multitasking that we should all just stop trying to do it, that there's no difference between a 50-year-old brain and a 13-year-old brain. That surprised me.
Yeah, just that a 13-year-old who says, hey, you don't get it, Mom or Dad, I just do it differently than you do, doesn't realize that actually all they do is shift tasks more quickly than you do. But while they're doing one task, they're not doing another. And the result is the brain's incapable of doing two cognitive tasks at the same time, that you get more depth and you get more value from doing one thing at a time sequentially rather than multiple things at the time, switching back and forth between them.
All right, so that's the problem. What's the cure?
Well, I found 3 or 4 things after spending a month this summer testing
you have time
myself.
For 2.
Testing myself by staying off the internet, right. Number 1, take certain periods during the day where you're not online. Turn it off for selected periods. Don't assume that you can resist it if you're hearing the ping. Number 2, take an occasional digital-free weekend or a week when you're on vacation where you actually do go off and you're in detox. That's what I did. And I ended up being able to read not only that book that I wasn't able to read, but many others over the period that I was doing the detox.
I don't know anybody can take a week off from internet.
Sounds like a New Year's resolution to me.
All right. Thank you, Tony. Something to think about.